first going to talk about, I know they're not a conference, but let's talk about the independents, okay? And we're not including Oregon State and Washington State in this. We're going to include them in the Mountain West. The independents, we decided we want to talk about Notre Dame's schedule. We've talked about them a little bit before. Honestly, I mean, we could have definitely talked about UConn's schedule because, that it's a bit of a joke itself. But, however, Notre Dame's schedule is usually very tough, okay? It usually is. And people like to hoop on Notre Dame for having easy schedules. And yeah, this is a video about college football's easiest schedules. Okay, but this isn't to say that this is the easiest schedule. I think this is just an easier schedule that Notre Dame's had in maybe a while.
I mean, just look at their win total, 10 and a half. 10 and a half. That means that Vegas says they're 10 and 2, they're 11 and 1, and they are right smack dab in the middle of a playoff conversation. And no, not everything is the end all be all about making the playoffs. We're a show about college football. We love the regular season, but also for Notre Dame fans, Marcus Freeman, that's going to matter. That's important in a 12-team playoff with this schedule. And the main part about the schedule makes it so favorable. I mean, yes, you got teams like A&M and Louisville won a bunch of games last year, and Florida State won undefeated last year, and USC, blah, blah, blah. But you have a ton of games. Most of those games are at home. The only tough road games are at A&M, which, by the way, Texas A&M, which we know more than most, is a tough place. Kyle Field will be buzzing. College game day is there. Fantastic that it's at a college site and not some neutral site. And then USC, your bookend. That's the end of the year, November 30th, right? Thanksgiving. Notre Dame's kind of always playing USC there on the road. And who knows? Who knows what could happen? But their win total is 7.5 for USC. And no, it's not the end all be all, but that's pretty telling about what kind Vegas is a little bit worried about the new offense coming in, new defense coming in, right? A lot of question marks out there for USC, who's going to be probably beaten up by a tough schedule of their own. So Notre Dame, I mean, it's pretty favorable for them to do some damage and obviously climb those playoff rankings as the season goes on.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Yeah, maybe this isn't the easiest schedule of all the independents, but yeah, I mean, you explained it great. Like this is way better than what Notre Dame has seen in the past. Like they're consistently having a top five hardest schedule. And look, you can look at FPI metrics, collegefootballschedules.com, whatever that website is, or FBS schedules. You can look at any metric, all right, that measures strength of schedule or strength of record, and you can find Notre Dame in the top 10. There have
Mhm.
been people in the past that have been, quick to judge Notre Dame's schedule because they play a unique schedule. It's not necessarily easy schedule. It's just a unique schedule in the sense that they're independents and they can schedule. There are no conference games, right? There are rivalries, of course. There are games that they play every year, but and in some years those rivals are better than others. Look, it is what it is this year, and Notre Dame's got a very good chance to make the college football playoffs. And not being in a conference, it makes things, how do you say it? Like it makes it interesting. It makes it interesting as an independent. I guess we have to see kind of how it plays out, to like see how this actually affects Notre Dame, this new expanded playoffs and them not being in a conference. But the reality is they're a they're a good team with a manageable schedule, sitting at a win total of 10.5.
Yeah, and also like you look at their schedule and you're checking out the home and away, and it's like three true road games. Texas A&M, obviously, like I said earlier, that's going to be tough, right? But at Purdue, it's a game Notre Dame is going to be favored in and should probably win, right? And then not until November 30th. You're going from September 14th to November 30th, not having a true road game. Now, yes, I know Navy, is up in East Rutherford, right? You're playing there, and which is awesome. You're playing Army in the Bronx in the Yankee Stadium, which is awesome as well. And I'm a big fan of the anti-neutral site in college football, but those are also fun atmospheres. I'm sure, those fan bases will be excited to travel. And then also Georgia Tech, technically a neutral site game going to be in Atlanta in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which I don't know how Georgia Tech got roped in to doing that, right? They did our guy so dirty there, Brent Key. And regardless, though, it's still not a true road game. So you're going to have, obviously Notre Dame fans will travel a little bit there, which again
I mean,
adds to
it,
the
it
fact of
is
like,
it basically is a home game for Georgia Tech,
but it's not like you're
but it's
playing
not
the
in
Georgia
there. It's not
Bulldogs
in.
in
It's not in.
Atlanta, and it's not like you're playing LSU in New Orleans. I think it's a little bit different than having to go play Georgia Tech,
But I mean, it
in
is the
like their home
same.
stadium.
It's the same city. You know,
Yeah,
it's just
I
not in
I
Bobby Dodd.
understand. Yeah, I understand that. But I do think there is, whatever Vegas, is going to attribute to neutral site in Atlanta, neutral site. I think it's going to be at least something. You're going to have to consider it just a little bit. I mean, um, what the nice part that Chick-fil-A will be open in there, which is pretty cool. But it's
It'll
Saturday.
be sad. It'll be Saturday.
Yeah. But
So
yeah, I mean, you're looking at the games, well, real quick, to talk about the games you have to win. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, the games you have to win. Obviously, you're looking at you're looking at your G5 programs, Northern Illinois, Miami, Ohio. As much respect as we have for those two programs in the MAC, you got to win those games, obviously. And I mean, look at year one and Marcus Freeman. I mean, they lost those games. They lost those type of games. And obviously in year three, you expect that not to happen. We do as well. Your ACC games, I mean, other than Florida State and Louisville, and by the way, we love Georgia Tech. I love Georgia Tech, but Georgia Tech also has a gauntlet of a schedule, right? So that's not going to be like
yeah,
they're coming off and they're just
they're gonna be showing
fresh
up
and they're
in body
whatever.
bags.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for them, and they're gonna, yeah. So, but obviously Florida State and Louisville, much different teams than they were just a year ago. Both playing in the ACC championship game, losing a ton to the NFL, right? Having to replace it with the transfer portal, and we'll see what happens there. I mean, obviously both those teams and staffs you feel pretty good about, but it's still not going to be plug and play just automatically. We'll see what happens there, and then obviously USC to close out, like I said earlier, like it's I think it's pretty good. I mean, you got a bunch of teams in rebuilding year. A&M off a new coaching change, which I mean might hurt you actually. Probably rather play Jimbo Fisher, but regardless, I mean everything sets up for Notre Dame to have to be there. It's there for them.